Good evening, Madam Wilhelmina.
Yeah, where are you?
I'm in Turkey, Ankara.
All right,
And
yeah.
you, I think from Australia, Melbourne,
No,
yeah?
I'm in Queensland, Brisbane.
Queensland. Yes, great. I have my cousins there, but in Sydney,
Oh yeah.
in Australia.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
remember you dropped by on my YouTube channel. I do remember.
Yeah, I've liked also your one of your videos, and I think that you are very professional when you are dealing with the buyers and sellers, and I think that we can make a good business here because I also have many contacts, and they are most of them they are real buyers, and I contact them personally here in Turkey or in UAE because I have multilingual also speech, so I can reach whoever buyer I want. But the thing is here, I am having lack of sellers, and I got a number of too many sellers in Mali and in Ghana, I think. Yeah, but I don't take it seriously because I have trust issues with them. Not just me, my buyers also.
So why buyers have no trust in Africa? Give me a reason why the buyer doesn't trust. Give me a reason.
Yeah, I think they have a bad experience with the sellers there. They are scammed, and there's bad reputations over there.
I agree. I agree.
And I've watched too many things, and I searched, and yeah, I concluded the same. You don't have to trust anyone, but once I came through your channel, yeah, I found this is the woman. She can help us, and we can get good profit from it also.
Okay, how did you evaluate? Did you listen to that video? Because that video is current. Every time I have an interview, I put that on my YouTube channel because I want the buyer to understand. I want everybody to understand that this gold and diamond business is real business, but some buyers are just using online brokers as well. That is why I have to screen properly. If you watch that video, I'm sure you're gonna understand. Did you watch from the beginning to the end?
No.
Well, you have to watch again.
Previous videos, yes, I watched it. That German buyer, you closed the deal with him, and it was very good buyer. And yeah, I listened to some details from you. It was about 2 months ago.
That's
Yeah,
American
and
buyer. That is American buyer. I went to Conakry and Mali and Sierra Leone
yeah.
2022. Yeah.
Mhm.
I only
Yeah.
travel to Africa when the buyer is really serious because I need to be on the ground to supervise the buyer. Yeah.
So how you can convince the buyer that this seller is legitimate and he is real, and he has to accompany me there. If you don't have like company details, now I have many company informations and details and passport of people in Mali, and I already brought it to Mali embassy here in Ankara, and I'm waiting from them the confirmation. But other than that, how you can convince him, the buyer, I mean, to come with you there and to trust.
You watch the video, current video. I want you to listen again and click below. It says show more. Read the full corporate offer first. I want you to read, and then when you understand, then bring the buyer. I will interview the buyer. Now, the reason why I put everything online, the seller hired Wilhelmina to handle the marketing. I know my seller. I've been to the office. So the buyer needs to convince me. Yeah. The buyer has to convince me first. Yes, I've been to Mali. Yes. So the buyer has to convince me first Because when the buyer come to me, what you have to do, because you're a buyer's agent of the buyer, I want you to listen to the video first, and then read the full corporate offer. Then you have to explain to your buyer that gold will not come to Turkey. The buyer has to travel, inspect. Before the buyer travel, we need to have a contract. I have to gather the buyer's vital information. If I'm not satisfied, I'm going to reject your buyer. There's no point to proceed if I don't satisfy, because I am the extension of the seller. I'm going to bring the buyer to Africa. I have to determine which seller I'm going to bring the buyer, either in Sierra Leone, Conakry, or Mali. I will distinguish, because my question is, if you read the full corporate offer properly, my question is very simple. I want to know your business registration, being a buyer, where the good to be delivered. Turkey, fine. I want to know the importation license of the buyer, and I want to know the proof of fund that you have available fund. On how many kilos you want. 10 kilos is already.
I've heard all of this information and I've read it.
No, see?
But I wanted to hear it from you. But here I also have an issue. What type of guarantee or insurance that the buyer can take from us, that he would go there and get his goal without any problems?
There would be there is no problem as long as the buyer follow the golden rules, because the gold cannot be taken out of the country without certificate of clearance. The most important is the clearance that the gold is free of illegal activities. Those sellers that you have spoken in the past, Mali, Conakry, Sierra Leone, they don't care about you. They don't. They just say, okay, there's my gold, this is the price. They don't even explain step by step. Right. They are not a seller. They are just an agent on the ground on that country. They want to earn a living. That is fine. To me, the seller hired me, and I know my seller. I am going to bring the buyer with me, right? In order for the buyer and the seller to establish good business relationship if the buyer wants a long term. To me, I can reject your buyer if I'm not satisfied. I will reject your buyer right and there. What you have to do, you are spoken to me, you already watched my video. I want you to listen again. I want you to read the full corporate offer, because that full corporate offer, I expand it. Just like an elementary question and answer is already on my YouTube channel and on my Facebook. Now what I'm gonna do, I will give you my platform on Facebook. I want you to go there and view, relax, don't rush, because this is $1 million worth of business. Yes. And if your buyer say,
and you are
go ahead.
closing the deals, most of the deals with the buyers,
Yes.
or what happens after you meet the buyer through Zoom or whatever app you need?
Okay, after the meeting of the buyer, after I interview, then I'm gonna ask the buyer, okay, send me your business registration, a copy, because I want to see it, and send me your importation license. Now, I'm going to gather the buyer's information for me to put that on the agreement of the seller. Then I will advise the seller to proceed. So then the buyer has to send his passport copy and the proof of fund, the most important, bank statement. Without that, I wouldn't believe it. I wouldn't believe it at all. No. If the buyer cannot convince Wilhelmina, to me, he's not a buyer. Because my seller is a miner. He produced gold. And I know my seller. When I bring the buyer, the seller will believe that he is a buyer. But if the buyer keep on asking a lot of paperwork, I have the paperwork of my seller. I will only release that when I'm satisfied. If I'm not satisfied, I will reject you.
Just one question for you,
Go ahead.
Madam Wilhelmina.
Go ahead.
How you cover your seller here after you are giving all the paper documents of the seller's company, and the seller who told you that this buyer won't go around you and he do the business without you?
I don't worry because I am the mandate of the seller. I have the agreement with the seller. I don't have any problem at all. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. This is a good news.
I don't have any problem. The buyer will go behind my back. It's okay. Because I always monitor, I always follow up the buyer. Are you happy with my seller? Are you happy with Wilhelmina? Because I do charge my services to bring the buyer. I do charge $20,000 to cover my travel cost. If you listen to my video, it says that Wilhelmina will charge the buyer her extra service to accompany the buyer. Right. If the buyer cannot afford to pay my extra service to me, he's not a buyer. Believe me. I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example.
And this is about the discount you get from the seller.
Well, our selling price.
How much?
No. You go back to the video.
From the available price now on market.
No, you did not pay attention on the video. That's the reason I said when you watch my video,
it's 8%.
That's
and
correct.
You can discount it more up to 10%, right?
That's correct. I can give the buyer more than 10% if I'm satisfied because I'm going to ask my seller.
I read that from your videos, but I want to confirm from you.
It's confirmed. I can give more than 10% because what I have done, I said to my seller when I was in the office, let us give the buyer because buyer has also expenses. Now, instead of 8% because I'm charging the buyer of my extra service, I'm giving back the buyer extra of 4%. Right. Now, when I'm satisfied, I can give the buyer maybe 14%, but don't bank on it because you have not convinced Wilhelmina. I will only tell the seller, let us give the buyer this one because I validated the buyer. So when the buyer come with me in the office, the gold is ready for inspect, and that's it. Then we will process the paperwork. The money must be bank to bank because of money laundering. Yes. I think you already watched my video. Go back and read again. And I will give you my platform on Facebook. I want you to read it. Don't be excited because when you made a mistake in this business, you're over. Yes? Oh yeah.
I know.
I'll give you an example.
Delicate side of the work, but here we have to be more careful.
That's right.
Picking up our buyers here.
I'll give you an example. There was a guy from Pakistan and he works in Dubai company. And he was talking to me 6 months or 3 months ago. There were 3 of them having conference with me. They said that they are a buyer. So I didn't believe them that they are a buyer. They're just window shopping. And he flew to Conakry, Guinea. And then he sent me a text that he is in Conakry, Guinea. And I told him, which hotel are you staying? Nome Hotel. And I saw the gentleman in the corner. He's in the restaurant having breakfast. And I told him, I'm going to meet you after my breakfast. I stayed in Nome Hotel, not knowing that he's dealing with my seller. And he showed me the contract, right? This is how tricky is the buyer's agent as well. So he showed me the contract.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah. He showed me the contract. And I said to them, okay, go to the office. But I didn't tell the buyer that he's dealing with my seller. And I told him, go to the office and discuss with the seller. But I can see the signature of the seller is not the seller. So it was been an agent. Okay, he just copied the company letterhead of my seller. So what happened? He went to the office. And he said, Wilhelmina, I feel uncomfortable of this seller. I said, why? To me, it seems that he is not a seller. And I told him, how do you know? And then when he told me that he went to the office and I told him, you know what? You are dealing with my seller. You are deceitful. You deceive yourself. And you didn't believe me that I'm with the buyer myself. And I brought the buyer to my seller's office. My seller is a big company. And my seller rejected him because he's asking for CIF. No way you can get CIF. No way. CIF stands for cost insurance and freight only. How about paying the gold? No way. No way you can get the gold. Anybody offer you CIF, that seller offer you CIF, just wait for the disaster. At the end of the day, you will never get the gold. Why? The seller will apply for the certificate of clearance, and if the government cannot give the seller certificate of clearance that the buyer did pay the gold in order to show the cash inflow receipt, you will never get the gold. The seller would not tell you about the cash inflow. The cash inflow means that the buyer has to transfer the money to the seller's bank account in order for the seller to apply to have a certificate of clearance. Without that, I'm sorry, you are going to wait for disaster. I'm telling you 100%. Most of the buyer went to Africa, disaster, disaster, disaster. Yes, I'm telling you, disaster, disaster, disaster. And I don't deal.
Thank you. I really appreciate
Yeah.
your help, and now this information helped me to get more clear view.
Yes.
Yeah, and yeah, please give me your Facebook contact.
I will give you my platform. I will give you my platform, and I want you to read. Don't be excited, because this is worth $1 million. This is a very lucrative business. A minute you made a mistake, you're finished. You know what happened to my buyer from United States? They were scamming Ghana. So he paid my services last trip that I have as November 2022. He did paid both male and female. They paid my extra service of $15,000, right? That 15,000 is to cover my airfare and hotel accommodation. So when we arrived, I arrived the day before they arrived, and we meet them in the airport. You know what they said? Wilhelmina, what happened if you were not on the ground? We're gonna feel bored. I entertain the buyer. We go out while waiting for the paperwork, because to transfer the payment, it takes 3 working days. After the clearance, then another 3 days to process the paperwork. The seller would not care for you. No, the seller would not care. That is the reason why I told on my video, if you cannot afford, meaning to say you are not a buyer, because the real buyer doesn't talk too much. Really, the American buyer, they get the gold. He doesn't have any problem. You know what they said to me? Your $15,000 is worth it. Is worth it. They're happy with me. Now 2023, I charge 20,000. Why? The airline ticket has been increased, and the hotel expenses has been increased, and the gold is also has been increased. So that $20,000 is peanuts. Instead of 8%, I can give the buyer 10 to 14%. I throw back the percentage. At the end of the day, the buyer is a winner. But if the buyer cannot afford to me, good luck. Sayonara. Hasta la vista. So that's it.
Okay, good information. And let me see what I can do here. And I will be in contact with you soon.
Yeah, don't worry about, you ask the buyer. If the buyer doesn't give you the services, the seller would not pay double commission. However, I am kind and generous. We will discuss this once I'm satisfied with your buyer, because if I'm not satisfied, I'm going to tell you sayonara and hasta la vista. Meaning to say goodbye and good night. Yes, I'm very tough.
Okay.
I'm very strict and very tough, because there's so many issues going on in Africa, and the seller doesn't care about you. I do care, because I want to clean the body image of Africa. I want to help both buyers and seller. You deal with Wilhelmina, I can assure you, I can guarantee you, you will get the gold. But if you cannot afford to pay my travel cost, then you are waiting for disaster. Yeah, I'm telling you.
Sure.
So you're happy for that?
Okay, that's good information. Thank you for your time.
I do remember that you sent me, I do remember you drop a message on my current video. I do remember. Yeah.
I really looked at a couple of your videos, and it was very informative and professional, so that I decided to contact you. I've got a number of too many sellers, and or let's say they are pretending they are sellers. They give me all the information, and I can give you a couple of these information I already gave to the embassy, but I don't know if they are
May I advise
or not,
you?
if they are real or not.
May I advise you by
And
the, may I,
probably all the tax, all the things, the cost of my travel on their behalf.
okay, may I advise you? May I advise you?
Here I stopped and I was thinking about how I can go there if there is no one before me did already this step with this guy.
May I advise you? Okay, I do understand that you wanna. This is business. The embassy has nothing to do. What you have to do, you inform your embassy that you are going to Mali or Conakry or Sierra Leone. The embassy would be aware that you are there. But the embassy cannot do anything because he doesn't own the gold. So the seller is in control, not the embassy. The embassy will only help you when you are in trouble. But you need to inform your embassy that you are going to travel to Mali or Conakry, Sierra Leone, and you need to give your hotel that you are going to stay in this particular hotel, because in case there is an issue, your embassy can rescue you. Right? The embassy is nothing to do with the gold. When I travel to Africa, I always inform my Australian embassy. I always do the research which embassy, which is the closest thing, because when in case there is an issue, I can contact them to rescue me. Yeah, the embassy is nothing to do, and you need to have you need to have cash.
If I have some question in my mind, can I just message you here? Or,
Sure. Just watch the video, my dear. Just watch the video. Don't be excited from the beginning to the end, and register that and digest it. Then you click and it says show more on my YouTube channel. Then read the full corporate offer. All the question and answer is on that video. Okay?
Yes.
Every video. Okay?
That's good.
All right?
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, and have a pleasant good evening.
Take care.
Good evening, everyone. Today is January 29. Even though it's weekend, I work 7 days a week. This is my online office. I am the extension of the seller, and my services is very unique. No such broker can even imagine how I explain on YouTube and on my Facebook. Most of the buyer or seller, they hide their faces. Why? They're scared. I can understand why they're scared. Because in Africa, there's a lot of ransack and hold upping. So they don't want to be recognized. They don't want to show their faces. And I told my seller when I was in the office, you should show your faces. Because if I am the buyer, I wouldn't trust you guys. But you know what my seller says? Well, Amina, that's why we hired you. You are the front of our company. You are the door woman of our company. You interview them, you screen them, then you bring them to the office, then they will see us who we are, which is correct. Because in Africa, they're really scared. They don't want to tell that they have tons of gold because of hold upping and ransack. There's so many criminal syndicate going on in every country. That's why they're scared. I can understand that. So that is the reason why my face is an example. Mr. Buyer, if you're watching me, or buyer's agent, don't be excited. Don't. Because I'm not excited to meet you. I'm not excited to talk to you. I would be excited when you understand the video that I have on my YouTube channel. Even this video, I always put the full corporate offer. Anybody of you come to my YouTube channel, I know YouTube is the best site compared to LinkedIn. Okay, used to be I'm a member of LinkedIn. I closed my account because LinkedIn Instead of to connect people, most of the LinkedIn they mix with broker joker and then they attack each other. That is no longer professional. I get out from LinkedIn, I close my account, I'm not interested. The best way, if you are a buyer, the best way, do the search on YouTube. It is really clean. You can see Wilhelmina. You have to watch. We have gold and diamond. Just pay attention and digest it. I can guarantee you, you will not fail. You will only fail when you don't understand. You will only fail if you don't have the money. You will only fail if you're asking CIF. You will only fail if you're going to say, bring to Dubai, we'll pay up their final asset. It wouldn't work. You're buying money to make money here. The money will not come to you. Who will give you the money? The stranger? No way. This is real business. So you have to, Mr. Buyer, if you watch this video, you read, then you send me a letter, a formal letter of intent to purchase coming from you, Mr. Buyer. After you read this full corporate offer, after you watch this video, you have to convince Wilhelmina. Show me your business registration. Show me your importation license. Where are you coming from? Where the gold to be shipped? Show me your passport copy. Show me the proof of your bank statement. For my eyes only. Then I will determine which seller I'm going to put you. Then I will advise my head office. This buyer has been validated. Let us proceed. Mr. Buyer, you will receive a letter of confirmation coming from my head office, and we will send you the company profile of my seller, and we'll send you a copy of my seller's mining license and the contract. Now, Mr. Buyer, you have to pay attention to this video. When I gather your information, you don't need to be scared because I'm not scared to show my face. Your information is for my eyes only. I am here to assist you. I am here to help you to get the supply for your business. No one is helping you. Most of the broker they float around. Oh, how much is my commission? This is business. I do charge my services, Mr. Buyer, you must remember. So therefore, you need to cooperate with Wilhelmina because if you don't cooperate, you're going to be rejected. I'm telling you. 100%. You're paying my services extra service. And I will take you to Conakry, I will take you to Mali, I will take you to Sierra Leone. I will determine when I'm satisfied with you. If I'm not satisfied, you would not get the supply from us. Because my seller produce gold. My seller has been in marketing or mining gold for many years. They hired me because they're sick and tired dealing with fake buyers, pretending to be a buyer. Mr. Buyer, don't be offended. I am very brutal and straightforward because I want to correct the mistake of others. You tarnish Africa, an African seller as well, they tarnish their country. Why? They're hungry to sell. And you, Mr. Buyer, you're hungry to buy. That's fine. That is business. We are here to sell. Wilhelmina is here to service you in the right way, not the crooked way. Right? So that is the reason why I put everything online. My Facebook is just like a store. You select, there is a gold, there is a diamond. You select it, then you come back to Wilhelmina, then I will determine which seller I'm going to bring you. Either in Sierra Leone, either in Mali, or either in Conakry. Right? I only travel to this country when the buyer is really satisfactory by Wilhelmina. If you cannot convince Wilhelmina, to me, you are not a buyer. Really. I just rejected the buyer, keep on sending me email, pretending to be a buyer. When I review it, he's a joker broker. And I told this joker broker, I don't want to mention his name, and I told him, I've given you the full corporate offer, just follow it, let your buyer send a formal letter of a request and interest because we want to know who is the buyer. Now this joker broker, he asked me how much is commission. We don't pay double commission anymore. The seller is sick and tired dealing with chain of joker broker. That is why the seller hired Wilhelmina. I am a gatekeeper. That's why my seller said, Wilhelmina, we don't talk to anyone. That is why we hired you. You are our door woman, which is correct. My seller has been in gold business for 20 years, but you will never get the gold to a real seller. My seller is a member of an export association. But the seller would not tell you. I will tell you when I'm satisfied, because we will send you the contract, put everything, your banking details, your email, your telephone number, because I have to gather your vital information and your banking details. Then we'll send you a contract. You review that, right? We attach your passport. I'm going to send it to my head office. I will determine which seller I'm going to put you. Then we will issue the landing visa. You satisfied me first, Mr. Buyer. If you convince me that you are a buyer, then I will believe. I've been to Dubai. I interviewed the joker buyer pretending to be a buyer. Keep on asking information and sick and tired. I would not give any advice to the joker buyer. There are so many joker buyer in Dubai. So many. They come to my hotel. They ask that they are a buyer. When I interview, they are not a buyer. They're not. They've been looking for gold for 1 year, and they went to Ghana. They were been scam. I said to them, you know why you have been scam? Scam means you deceive yourself, and the seller also deceive you. Both of you are deceitful. That is called scam. I don't deceive. I don't, because I know my seller. When I bring, if there is an issue, I could find a backup. That's the reason why. But you know, Mr. Buyer, you have no idea about this business. I have to travel ahead of time, make sure if the seller of mine muck around, I can find another seller. I always warn my seller, hey, I'm bringing the buyer. Make sure that the buyer is satisfied. If not, you're going to lose the buyer, and I will find another backup, because in every seller, I have 3 to 4 sellers. But I will specialize one seller. There's a called favoritism. Yes. And I have all of these 4 sellers. In Mali, I have 3 sellers. In Conakry, I have 3 sellers. In Sierra Leone, I have 4 sellers. Right. When I communicate with my seller, if the seller doesn't respond with me within 5 hours, finish, next, next, next. Something like that. I'm very strict. I'm very brutal. This is for both buyers and seller. Right. So any seller who watch this video, this is for your benefit. Right. And I don't muck around. I'm telling you. I'm a woman. I travel to Africa. I don't have any security guard. Why? I don't own the gold. I am here to service both parties. I am with the seller. I am also with the buyer. So I am a gatekeeper. I will open the gate for you guys only if you convince Wilhelmina. The gate would not be closed because you don't convince me. And then when you receive the seller's information, yeah, you can contact my seller. I don't have any issue. I don't have, because the seller hired Wilhelmina. The seller is paying my work. I only charge my extra service. I have to be honest with you. If you cannot afford me to say, you have no money. Don't come to Wilhelmina asking LC. LC means letter of credit. You don't have cash. You have the solid, but you don't have cash in your bank account. Buyer asking, is BLC? Is BLC mean standard letter of credit? You're going to borrow money? We don't. Gold is cash. Here's the gold. Take the gold. You have the money. Transfer the money to the bank. From your bank to the seller's bank. Then we process the export documentation. Then we ship it. If you want to ship by Brinks, I can put you to Conakry. In Mali, they have a different shipping. The shipping logistic means just like a G4S or DHL. You have to ship the goods from the end to the DHL. You pay the shipping cost. You insure the products. But most of you guys are not paying attention. I'm sick and tired of keep on repeating and repeating. That is the reason why when I interview the buyer, this is on the record, because I want the buyer to understand that you need to follow the government golden rules. There is always a valued added tax. Here in Australia, our government sales tax is 10%. I don't know how much government sales tax in your country. In Africa, there is always government sales tax. You pay the goods plus government sales tax. You cannot run away without paying the government sales tax. But Wilhelmina is very flexible. I am with you. I am a good negotiator on both party. I know my seller will bend it because I told my seller, this buyer is real buyer. He submit his business registration. He submit a copy of his importation license. He submit his passport. And he showed the buyer financial bank statement that is $1,000,000. Without that, I wouldn't believe it. No, I wouldn't believe it. What a waste of time. Buying diamond exactly the same. I have a buyer keep on asking question, and I told the buyer on diamond, view the video, the stone, you select the stone, still he cannot comprehend. And I told him, sayonara. Yeah, don't waste my time. He cannot afford, he said, too expensive. Of course, diamond is an expensive item. He's looking for cheap price. I told him, good luck. Another chain of joker broker that his buyer is in Zimbabwe. And he said, I work for the Italian embassy. Well, go to the Department of Mines in Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe has diamond. I don't have time to deal with a small timer. This is a real business. If you understand, if you know your buyer, create a group chat, then I will interview the buyer, and then that's it. And if you cannot meet the criteria, then hasta la vista, sayonara amigo.